So, good evening. It looks like nobody is able to make the call today. That's a first, but I hope you're all having a lovely Wednesday evening, whatever you're up to. So, for today, we have the guidelines. I wanted to check in some brags and some wins with you, see how you're getting on. I'm going to post in the forum to stimulate some shares there. And we are looking at start the day right. So this is all about your hydration, your elimination, your meditation, lots of shins, and setting intention, connecting into the subtle energy of Brahma Muhurta, the subtle morning energy, the rising energy of the waking world. So I'm going to start with sharing the screen for the guideline, and I guess it's me reading. So today we are looking at the concept of engage your edge. We had a lovely share on this. I think it was in the orientation call where Capucine mentioned that actually some of the language is confusing, and she was a little bit disorientated about how some of these guidelines differ in significance. So engage your edge is so in English we use the word edge to talk about, it's that point between your comfort zone and outside of your comfort zone, which is your growing zone. And that edge is the place where, as people looking to expand all the time, we want to constantly sit in that place. We want to be looking for, and am I feeling comfortable? If so, what's my next stage? What's my next step for growth? Comfort is good for a while, and sometimes it's good to allow the change to embed a little bit before we move on. But then we do need to move on, because otherwise there's not only no growth in the comfort zone, but there can be the tendency to fall backwards again. So this is what the edge refers to. It's that very narrow place between comfort and growth. So growth means change and doing things that you haven't done before in ways that you resisted in the past. We could also add doing things that you never even considered before, which were outside of your scope of awareness. So to give you a good example of this, at the moment in the community, Kate is getting very, very into urine therapy. What happens when most people hear about urine therapy is there's an immediate shock followed by disgust, and you see the immediate resistance there. However, in the community we're talking a lot about the benefits, surprising benefits actually, and so doing things that you haven't done before. It could include urine therapy, but it needn't. But it's really, we have to look beyond the comfort zone. And the comfort zone is the stuff that we've done before. Okay? So when you are all in, fully committed, you want to feel the discomfort of being at your edge. The edge of your old self and your new self. The comfort zone and the zone of growth. Yes, it's unfamiliar. If it weren't, it would be the familiar and it would be inside the comfort zone. And yes, it's uncomfortable. But it leads directly to your growth. Step into and embrace new ways of doing, being, and thinking. Experiment with new ideas, feel how they feel, even take a few risks. Let's observe and celebrate each other's growth in the process. So if we take that idea of urine therapy, definitely unfamiliar, probably for 100% of you in the group. Uncomfortable? Yes. We have a strong cultural aversion to urine and feces. And they are probably the last place that we would look for therapeutic benefits. However, if we take the Kaizen approach, some women in the community are just starting to just catch a little bit of the pee on their fingers and rub it on the back of their left hand. And just to do that consistently to see if it has any effect. And then to use that experiment to say, if there is an effect and it looks good, maybe I can expand beyond that small use. So I know that Kate's been putting it on her scar. She had her leg operated on maybe a couple of months ago now. And it's healing the scar much more quickly. People have used it on eczema, dry skin, pimples, burns, all kinds of skin issues, and experienced healing. So that being the Kaizen, just to experiment, and then observing the results, then your curiosity might be awakened, your disgust might be lessened, so that you could think, okay, well maybe rather than just putting it on my hand or on my pimple or whatever, maybe I use it on my skin as a moisturizer. One of the key ingredients in commercial moisturizers is urea. You know where that comes from? Urea. Urine. Horse's urine. So a lot of you are maybe already using it without even knowing and paying a lot of money for it, when every day you're creating it yourself and it's for free. And then the next stage might be to start drinking just a small, 1 centimeter in a cup, and to see if you notice any benefits there. Anyway, this is just using urine therapy as an example of doing something that's unfamiliar, uncomfortable, but may lead directly to your growth, but you will never know if it does if you don't try. And that's the thing. And if we look at the theme of this week, start the day right. If you've never got up early on a regular basis, you will never know what benefits it might bring to you. And if you never commit to meditation on a daily basis, you will never know how amazing that might feel for you. So it's really about engaging your edge means committing to doing something on a regular basis for long enough to observe the results of that experiment, and then making an informed decision. You can then say, urine therapy did nothing for me. I gave it a whole month and I really saw no benefits at all. Okay. But you may say, I did it for a month. It's not as disgusting as I thought it was going to be, and I'm curious and I want to keep going, for instance. Or you may say, that's amazing. I look younger and fresher than I've looked in years, and there's definitely something in this. But it's up to you to have your personal experimentation. Okay, so the new ideas. Get curious, expand beyond what you are currently doing. What is your routine? How can you shake it up? Get curious about what you can introduce, okay? Because that's where the growth is going to be. Okie dokes. So, oops. Oh, that was the wrong button. Oh dear. It was that one. Present. There we go. Okay. That's the one I wanted. So, on to, I was going to say the challenge of the week, but the habit of the week, start the day right. So there's a dual purpose in this one. Waking early in what the yogis call the Brahma Muhurta, the sacred hours of dawn, and as Kate says, become a pooping champion. So this is about hydration and elimination. So just take a moment before we go on for yourself to give yourself a score of 1 to 10, 1 being not consistent and not really getting this habit, to 10 as being absolutely, for each of those two different areas. So if you're waking consistently, let's say 5, 6, 6:30 in the morning, and dedicating time to meditation, journaling, some kind of spiritual practice, if that's happening for you every day, then pop a 10 down for that. And the same for your elimination. Are you eliminating regularly and completely in the morning? If you are, give yourself a 10. If you're struggling with constipation, and also if you know that you're not hydrating properly, then mark yourself down there. It may be that you're hydrating but you're still not eliminating effectively. And note that it does take time to shift and adjust, or it could be that there's some other things going on. So the benefits of looking at, really getting this habit dialed in. So waking early, the fastest route to reconnecting with spirit. And as we looked at in our call on Sunday, spirit is really where we find our truth. So if we're not connecting to our truth on a daily basis, how can we expect to live in alignment with it? To not get caught up in other people's projects, to not get pulled in erroneous directions. We receive, when we are open in that space, what we're doing is, through the neutral mind, we are accessing the Buddhi mind and the universal mind. So that means that we begin to access universal wisdom. So those of you who have committed to meditation on a regular basis will hopefully know those moments of sudden, instantaneous and absolute knowing. Some information will come in and you know it's the truth. This is what happened when I was free diving. I would perceive the situation, the blockage, information would come in, and I would know it was the absolute truth because the ocean opened up and let me in. I got that direct feedback through that relationship. So morning meditation is the most direct, the most effective way to access that subtle realm where you are going to be so deeply enriched by new truth, real truth, absolute truth, which is going to really shift the way that your day plays out, and of course then the way that your life plays out. Just allow yourself to be a witness. This idea of a new beginning, that we have the opportunity every single morning to reinvent, to restart, to reshape, to redefine, and start again. I don't think many of us really are aware of the potential for that absolute freshness. There is an opportunity to come into every day with no baggage, no preconceptions, and just say, I'm going to see what the day brings, and I'm going to respond in the moment from my intuition, from my heart, and see how things go. Doing things in a different way, doing things that I've never done before. So witness that opportunity every single day. Bring it into your conscious awareness so that you can really start to access that space. And we talk a lot about Ama here in this program. Agni, the digestive fire that burns Ama, which is toxic waste, and we talk about it being physical Ama in the digestive system, but we also have energetic and emotional Ama. Anything that we haven't processed released, builds up. Also, you feel it when when things are too much, when you're going through a tough time in life. You will feel the heaviness of the emotional or the energetic armor. And by sitting in that space, in that subtle energy of Brahma Muhurta, and connecting something greater than you create almost like a channel for the new, for the positive, for the inspiring to come in and replace that which is no longer needed. You also connect to Source, which is an incredibly strong power, an incredibly strong resource for when we are feeling down, for when we're feeling like we've had enough, we can't carry on, the world is too much. That connecting to that source of inspiration and that strength that it gives us the inspiration to continue, to do another day and to do it in a better way than maybe we did it the day before. It's it's challenging when life is hard, which it has been now for well over a year, and when we're all struggling. It is hard sometimes to stay positive and to see the point in keeping on trying and making an effort and, why should I do these habits or whatever it is. But that is armor in itself. That's emotional armor, mental armor. And I know that then there's the tendency to just go, and there's no point in meditating, and then there's no point in doing this, and to really go back into not only old habits, but worse than old habits. Your meditation in the early morning is the way that you clear that heavy energy. And it's how you shift out of that difficult phase much, much, much more quickly. I can speak for myself that I used to have a tendency to sit in my own sorrow a little bit, feel sorry for myself, poor me, and find it very hard to shift myself back into a more positive state. But I know that meditation and having a positive mindset really helps me, that even when things are tough, I can have a bad day, but I can get back to being motivated and clear and focused the next day. And that's really important in our lives. So the last one, let go of old stagnant energy, that kind of is covered in what I've said there. So if we don't have a conscious start to the day, when we are not clearing out the mental armor, when we're not clearing out the emotional armor, we get stuck in reactive loops of behavior and communication. And this is so damaging to ourselves and to our relationships. So starting the day consciously means that we come from a place of intention, and our communication and our behavior therefore comes from that clear place within us, rather than us having started the day without setting a direction, without connecting in with ourselves, without giving energy and good prana to ourselves. And then people come across our path with their own issues, their own questions, their own struggles, and we're much less able to be open and giving and supportive to them. This is the concept of fill your cup first, and then it's full, so whoever comes along in the day, you will have something that you can give them, rather than starting the day with an empty cup and have nothing to give and maybe feeling resentful for even having been asked, or feeling guilty for not being able to give. So when we disconnect from the power of intentional living, we're just a leaf blowing in the wind. And I think all of us here in this group are clear or getting clear on the direction that we want to take in our life, that we want to have an impact in some way. This doesn't mean, you know, I need to be famous and I need to change the world. It can be to have an impact on your local environment by growing an organic garden and campaigning against pesticides in the local park. For instance, we choose where our passion is, or our passion is already there as the seed within us. But if we're not getting clear in the morning, then we're much more likely just to get caught up in whatever is happening. Sluggishness and depression, get up, get moving, get breathing. It kickstarts your engine. And as I've spoken about, the build-up of armor in the system. When we come on to breath body next week, we will talk more about the physical, like get moving so that you ignite your Agni. But in terms of the sitting side of, and the intention setting side of the morning, the Brahma Muhurta, it's the energetic, it's the spiritual armor, the feeling disconnected, and the negativity that builds up as a result. And on the physiological side, we are talking here about the hydration for the elimination. So to go back to physical armor, if we're not clearing out our bowels every day completely, we do get toxic particles building up, and over time that can leak out into the bloodstream, and that can cause a lot of illnesses, so brain fog, heaviness, sickness. Oh, that's it. Not many slides for start the day right. So what I wanted to talk about, I'm going to stop the share now because we don't need that. So what I wanted to talk about tonight, I guess this video is going to be a bit shorter because I wanted to have some discussion and interaction, and it's only me, is we all have been up in the early hours, even if it's just because we had to catch a flight, we had to be somewhere. Some of us have been up in the early hours on a regular basis for meditation, spiritual practice. So whatever it is, no judgment at all. I just want you to close your eyes and try to take yourself back to the darkness that is just before dawn, where you start to see on the horizon a very, very faint lightening of the sky. It's imperceptible at first, and it grows gradually. And try to visualize both the quality of the light, the color of the sky, but also the feeling. So we're tapping into quite a lot of our senses here, because I want you to visualize, to see the light and the colors of the sky. I want you to listen for the sounds of the early morning. It has a unique quality. What are the unique sounds of the morning? And what do you feel in your body? It might be the temperature of the air. It's probably quite fresh, crisp. And then there may be some words that you would use to describe this time which go beyond the physical senses. An energy or a feeling that it gives you. So just take a few moments to connect in as much as you can with that experience of the early morning. Just allow your breath to flow naturally and take yourself back to those precious moments of pre-dawn. And you might be standing outside somewhere, you might be sitting in a room able to watch the sky from the window. You may have a candle burning. You may have your eyes closed in meditation. Just feel the quality of the energy of the morning as you recall it, as you experienced it. And see the sky lightning. Observe how it changes and how that changes what you experience in your 5 koshas, the 5 sheaths, the physical body, the food body. Your energetic body. Your mental and emotional body. Your intuition. And your bliss body, your spirit, your essence. These ever more subtle layers of yourself, how are they impacted by the Brahma Muhurta, the rising energy of the day? Listening, feeling, sensing. Really try to develop your subtle awareness as much as possible. The light still increasing. Maybe the sun is just coming over the horizon, bringing a warm glow. How does that moment feel? First rays of sun. And maybe watching or just sensing as the sun slowly rises up until it is entirely above the horizon. And the day has truly begun. And I want you to ask yourself, in this moment when you are so connected to that energy, or as connected as you can be through the power of your mind, ask yourself truly, why do I not give myself this gift every single day? What is getting in my way? What is preventing me? And more importantly, what in me is preventing me? Try to get clear that even though you are aware of the benefits of rising early and spending time for setting intention and for meditation, why does that not happen on a regular basis, if that's the case for you? And it might help you to connect again to the three malas. I don't know if you remember the three malas, but the three modes of self-sabotage. So Mahiya Mala at the third eye, a sense of overthinking, analyzing, judging. So it might be, I've got more important things to do, I don't really believe it's going to make a change. I did actually one time have a guy say to me that he believed he was too intelligent to meditate, which made me laugh. That was also Mahiya Mala. Yeah, he was judging himself as above meditation, or my mind is too busy, or whatever it might be. So Mahiya Mala, Anava Mala, the blockage at the heart, which stops us receiving support. So it could be that we are scared of opening ourselves up to that vulnerable, soft energy of our heart space in the silent hours of the morning, that we are scared of the power, or we're scared of the pain that maybe we're holding still in our heart. We're scared what might be unleashed if we allow ourselves to sit in that space. So what might be the heart blockage that could be stopping you from giving to yourself in this very loving, beautiful way? And then Kama Mala, which is the navel point. Kama Mala is the blockage through action. So it could be laziness. This is a common one for getting up early. Or it could also be, I'm too busy. I don't have time to meditate. I'm far too important. I've got far too much work. There's far too much else going on in my life for me to do that. So you are directing your action into other directions. So that's also a blockage of Kama Mala. So that might just help you to tap into maybe some deeper truths, rather than just I feel tired. Try to scratch down towards some more of the emotional patterning and habits that may sit behind an inability to give to yourself in this way. It's really it's a beautiful practice. It's a beautiful time to be awake. So I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes to do some thinking and writing around that if you want to. You can press pause if you need a little bit longer. I'm going to continue. And I just really want to check in on the more physical side of things. No, before we do that, I want us to Kaizen this together. So, what is the one small step that you could take this week to move towards a consistent early morning spiritual practice, however that looks? It could be pranayama. It could just be standing outside your front door as the sun rises, walking into the rising sun. It could be a journaling practice. It could be chanting sacred mantra in the morning. It could be, did I say pranayama? Meditation, setting intention, affirmations. There's so many ways that we can use this time. And remember, it doesn't have to be 20 minutes. Start with the 3 minutes. Let that be enough. That's your Kaizen. Start with the 3 minutes. Choose one thing and stick with it. Yeah? Engage your edge. Just be in that discomfort of that one new thing. Commit to it for a month and see how you go. Okay, so coming now onto the more physical side of things, your hydration. So we haven't talked about it for a while, but the hot water in the morning and the sipping the hot water through the day. As we move into summer, I know that Europe is experiencing awful weather and it's been really cold. So that in a way is a bonus to keep you sipping the hot water or the warm water. It's getting quite hot here in Egypt, so I'm going more on to room temperature water. But I do know that when I have tea, hot water, I feel the benefits in my elimination. So it's worth really bearing that in mind every single day, that in the morning hot water is going to help you to hydrate more effectively and to eliminate. Okay? So if you're not doing it, refresh your memory around that. You can go back to the workbook with Kate. In fact, should we do that now quickly? Yes, one moment. Because you're not here, I can pause it. Okay, so let's just go through the worksheets just so that to remind you that there are so many resources here for you to dive into to stay on track. So the checklist to start your day right, you might print that off and put it next to your bed or next to your bathroom mirror. So wake up early, preferably before sunrise. Urinate. You might want to rub a bit of urine on the back of your hand. You can write that in your own writing after that. Hydrate. Hot water. Okay? And hopefully that will start your elimination. The moving, we'll come on to that next week. For me, it's much more important that you have some kind of intentional activity in the morning, meditation, journaling, as I said before. So for Kate, hydrate and eliminate. That for her is the A and O in terms of, I suppose from the Ayurvedic perspective, our digestive system is the most important system. So we talked about early dinner, we talked about the nighttime Agni, and so now we're kind of finishing that cycle. She's very physical, so she likes to move. For me, sitting comes first. So avoid coffee, caffeine and juice in the morning. Put your mind before your body. Okay, this sounds more like me. So pranayama, breathing, intention. Hang on, don't put your mind before your body. Right, I see what she's saying. I was saying, do put your mind before your body, meditation before physical. Yeah, don't get caught up in Facebook and messages and whatever else. Take care of the intentional side of the start of your day. Keep breakfast light. And make space in your mornings for you. So she has here also an intentional breathing guide to start your day. So it's basically this an instruction for Ujjayi breath. So those of you who are less familiar with the yogic terms, Ujjayi here means literally triumphantly uprising. And it's this Darth Vader, or we would probably call it the ocean breath. So this slight restriction at the back of the throat. You can start with the mouth open so you really get a sense of the sound that is being created by the air being drawn across this narrower opening. And then continue with the mouth closed, breathing through the nose. Ujjayi breath allows you to extend the length of your inhale and your exhale, which in turn directly activates and strengthens your parasympathetic nervous system. And it's a very calming, grounding breath. Okay, so that's for those of you who want to do simple pranayama. It can be as simple as that. You don't even have to do counting or nostril changing or anything. And she also has in here an intuition worksheet. Sorry, that Ujjayi caught in my throat. So an opportunity to do some journaling, some visualizing, some feeling into the energy of starting the day in an intentional way. What do you feel like when it's going right and when it's not? Yeah, and let the gap between those two be your motivation to keep going, to keep engaging your edge, to keep moving into the area of growth. Okay. So that brings the session to an end. I hope you're all well. Sorry not to see any of you this evening, but I hope you check in with the video and watch it during the week. We're taking the next week off. My intention is to be taking Coco to Europe, but yet again, the Belgian government are blocking me from traveling. I'm in a major crisis mode right now, trying to figure out how I can make this happen. So, I will keep you all posted on how things go. Keep up with the practices, keep up with the habits, keep up with engaging your edge. This is really what we need to do here, and using your awareness of how your body, mind, spirit all integrate, connecting into spirit, and let that guide you. What if you have a choice between getting up early and not getting up early, what would Spirit do? Let that be your question. What would Spirit do? What would Spirit do? And that can maybe take out any of this, oh, but I don't want to, or it feels difficult, or it's da-da-da-da-da. You're coming from that place which is naturally about expansion. It's naturally about growth, and that can make things so much easier. Okay, loads of love to all of you. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.